Good morning, it's me, Gazbot. I'm having decaf coffee once again in my wolf mug. Anyway, I'm trying to get back on track. I did March of Robots, I went to the Philippines. I've been drawing. I've even been drawing things that became prints. I had some client work that's due today that I finished last night. I've been productive, been working on the house. I have not been lazy. I have not been dilly-dallying, but what I have not been doing is working on the horror. For a good month, I've barely done anything on it. After a good, push, right after I got issue 2 out, I was like, yeah, issue 3, and I was working on it. And somehow, and again, this is why I've talked about kind of regretting doing March of Robots. I don't really, but my only regret is that it sidetracked me from the Horror A4, which is a lot of things in life. I don't regret a lot, but usually it involves being sidetracked from the Horror A4. And please excuse me, I did not get a lot of sleep last night. So my plan this week is to, I'm gonna have a modest goal. The other thing is, here's the thing. I need to get a bunch of prints done. I do have some new prints from March of Robots, but I only have 5 or 6 shows so far lined up this year, but one is in Florida and it's Ranger Stop, so it's Power Ranger Super Sentai Heavy. One is in Chicago and it's Godzilla Fest, so, Kaiju Godzilla stuff. And one is down in Pasadena, San Diego, I forget where, but way south where I'm probably gonna have to fly, or no, I'm driving actually, or my friend is driving, haha. And that is Power Morphicon, Power Rangers, Super Sentai stuff. So, and I have a few more regular local kind of Comic-Cons, but I wanna have a bunch of new prints, specifically in those genres for those shows for this year, as well as work on the Horror A4. So what I'm gonna do is, like I said, a modest, reasonable goal. Every day this week, I'm gonna spend 2 hours working on a new print, and 2 hours working on the Horror A4. And that doesn't mean that's all I'm gonna do. I'm also maybe gonna do a warm-up sketch. I'm also gonna work on the house. I might do more time on those, but that's just to kind of get me back on track. I can't afford to just sit down and work on the horror all day, every day, or prints. But if I could put 2 hours on each of those, vectors, levels, pie slices, things, then I will be in a better spot at the end of the week than I was in the beginning. Right? Okay, so anyway, here I go. Day 1, Monday, yes. So it is almost 2 o'clock. I'm taking a break. I'm gonna have a little bit of lunch. I had a small breakfast. That doesn't matter. And I'm going to, what have I done? Well, I did a warm-up sketch of a Mr. Freddy Krueger. I don't like it, but I did it in 30 minutes. There's a small art group I'm a part of that does daily challenges. I have not done it at all. They've been doing it for 2 weeks. This is the first one I've done. Normally, I come up with my own warm-ups, but I decided to do theirs because it's something I didn't want to draw. I didn't want to draw Freddy Krueger. Didn't feel inspired to do it. I don't love the end result, but I did it. So, that was the challenge. And I also kept it to 30 minutes. Normally, I'd be like, well, I need another pass or two, and let me redraw this and make it good. I'm not sharing, I'll share it with you guys, and I shared it on that group, but normally my warm-ups I'm happy enough with that I throw on Instagram, throw around, and it kind of serves multiple purpose of hey, look, art I'm doing. But for this, in this case, I don't like it. So I shared it with the group, and I'll share it with you here now. Hey, so I'm done eating the lunch, and it was leftover pasta. Who cares? Not me. I never lost control. Well, you're face to face with the man who sold the world. That's right, David Bowie. Or Nirvana. Who cares? I'm all over the place. So before I went to lunch, I did finish my 2 hours on a print. Oh, by the way, I have been working on redecorating. I actually have some art up by my desk now. Not that you can see it that well, but the house is coming together 8 months after living here. So I did my 2 hours on the print. It's not done, and the print I'm working on is this. And it is another in my Misfit Turtle series lineup. It's Glenn Danzig as the Ninja Turtle Slash. Now, this was a sketch I did on the plane coming back from the Philippines without any real reference. This is about how far I got it, I don't know, over the course of however long last week. I don't know how much time I put in, but I actually did some reference. You can see I got the little Sam Hain belt, and I was trying to figure out the best way to make it look like Danzig, but still look like Slash. So I have the big pointy shell on the back. Slash is kind of more of a snapper turtle. He's bigger and kind of more evil and crooked looking, so felt that fit Danzig. And then from this, I put in my 2 hours, and I'm at that. I'm almost to the point where I can quote-unquote ink it. I don't know if I'll literally ink it or digitally ink it. I think I need to rework this hand a little bit, and I got to put in a few other little details and accoutrement, but I'm mostly there. I'm not sure if I'm going to leave this shirt mesh or not, but I've definitely got the Danzig thing going. I'm just not sure if I need to add a little bit more Slash, maybe give him his crooked sigh or something somewhere. But anyway, that's my 2 hours I'm done today, so I'm moving on to the Horror A4. All right, slight change of plans. I did about a half hour on the Horror A4. I did roughs for a page, a panel. I'm not sure if it's going to be a splash page or a full panel, but here is this roughs. The roughs! Rough, that's with them. That's with them. Man, I am rusty at this. So anyway, I need to go to the post office. Q is working from home, and she said that this letter needs to be sent out today. So I'm doing that. I also need to pick up a prescription from Target, and so I need to do that before the post office closes. So this is not the plan, but I'm going to go do this and come back. I'm still going to finish my 2 hours, but my plan was to do the 2 hours on each thing and then do everything else in the day. But unfortunately, it's changing, and I'm adapting. I'm like the Borg. And this is the danger of getting sidetracked and leaving the house. I went to the post office. I went to pick up the prescription. And on the way back, I was like, well, Toys R Us is right there. They are going out of business. It's probably going to be depressing, and they won't have anything new. But yeah, I was right. It was pointless and a little depressing. So back to work. Back to work. I've yet to find a good spot in my house where I can just place the camera. I used to have a bunch of shelves that just happened to be at the exact height I would need it to be at to see me properly, that was like fairly well lit. Now I find myself holding it a lot or putting it in different places. Like right now it's on top of a jewelry box in front of a closet next to the bathroom, which is kind of working right now because the sun's coming through this little window, but it's whatever. I did my 2 hours on the horror, and what I did, part of the reason I haven't been working on the horror is because, like I said, I've been busy, but also I was getting kind of stuck and frustrated. Hey, let me just lean on some stuff here. Hey, what's going on? You look cool. You come here a lot. I'm hitting on you. No, I'm not. Well, maybe. Are you? Anyway, weird. So I had done, I had the script for the 5 issues. So I was taking the script for issue 3 and breaking it down. But what I did, like with the last 2 issues, was basically thumbnail the whole thing out and then start going in and roughing it and stuff. And then kind of, doing those extra steps. I was trying to kind of cut out the thumbnail step. Sort of. I was sort of combining thumbnail with rough pencils with the idea that then I would do final pencils and inks and everything else. Partially to just speed up my process because I'm too slow, and partially because a problem I've had with both issues, and I just have continually when I'm with my own writing anyway, is having too much dialogue in the panels for the action or the amount, like I have, oh, well, there'll be 6 panels, and then in one of the panels I'll have like 4 word balloons or, and I think it's going to fit until I start putting it together and then it doesn't, or the letterer puts it together and I see how it's not working and it's covering up too much, so then I end up editing it after the fact and it takes up more time. And so my thought was like, when I do the thumbnails, I usually don't put in the word balloons because I'm doing little tiny thumbnails. And even if I do indicate, oh, there'll be a word balloon here, it'll just be like a little bubble. And meanwhile, there's a paragraph of text that would never fit. So I either need to edit the text or make it a bigger panel or whatever, or spread it over several panels. And so I was doing bigger ones, but because of that, I had done like 12 or 13 in a row, some more detailed than others. And all of them I was making sure to put the word balloons in, and I was kind of doing the math of how to fit them and making edits, but it was going slow and it was kind of being frustrating, and I found myself wanting to expand the pages, but in a boring kind of way with just lots of people talking, and I just kind of got stuck. And so when I reapproached it this time, I got the idea that I would put a couple pages in the beginning with action. And I like to start with action. The first 2 issues, I start with a shot of the monster, but then quickly move on to other stuff. And I always want to have some kind of monster action in every issue, once if not twice, because, again, it is a monster book. It is an action book, even though there's a lot of talking and people as well, which is, to me, equally, if not more important. But I understand the type of book it is, the type of genre it is. You don't want to watch a Godzilla movie and not see Godzilla. Legacy 2014. I'm talking to you, or 2016. When the heck did that come out? Anyway, it doesn't matter. The American version didn't have enough Godzilla, is what I'm saying. So basically what I did was I got the idea for a splash page of a flashback to the older heroes that I introduced at the end of issue 2, which aren't in the current day, but I'm like, well, I could sort of show them. And so I did a splash on the first page, like action, monsters, aliens, kaiju, and a heroic, giant Ultraman type character. Sure, that looks good. But then I'm like, well, I got to kind of resolve that. So I did like 2 more pages. And I'll just show you here as a little slideshow and discuss what's going on.
So this is the first panel slash splash page I already showed you. I'm considering having it just be the first page, and as you can see, I laid it into some thumbnails here, and the bottom two are also new, as well as the top left here. That's all I did today, and that's all flashback action with, I'm saying, hey, this will be a filled-in page here. This is the next 4 pages, which I already had done, which it transitions back into not action, dialogue, and stuff, but then again, more action for the bottom of this page. And then this is where tons and tons of dialogue is, and then that's a new page I put in the bottom right today.
So there's that. And once I got done with those, I then went back in and sort of relaid out the whole issue and thumbnailed in one new page at the end. I am missing a page in the middle that I decided to add in addition to those action panels to transition between the flashback and whatever. I'm talking a lot. But what I have now is, it was going to be, I think, like it was supposed to be a 22-page issue. And as I was working, I'm like, this is going to be more like 24, 26, 28 by the time certain things stretch out. When I added those extra pages in the beginning, as well as one insert I think I'm going to do in the middle, and then having to spread out 1 or 2 pages, right now I'm looking at a 22-page comic if I end it way before the end of issue 3. Like, it's a stopping point I can hit that would make some sense. And it would probably be 22 pages. Now I have 3 more pages to lay out, so it could end up being 22, 23, 24 because I have a problem. But what I'm saying is, even with all these pages I've added, I could make it a regular sized comic, if not a slightly slimmer comic than my other 2, which were both oversized. The worry there is, I've been touting this as a 5-issue limited series, and I kind of wrote it that way. But the more I get into it, the better I get at pacing and writing and art and blah, 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 because it's taking me so long to do. Normally you do an issue, an issue, an issue, an issue. But I'm doing an issue, 6 months go by, then I start the next issue, then a year goes by, now I'm on issue 3. So I'm growing as an artist and a writer, which is good, but it presents its own challenges where suddenly issue 2, in my opinion, is way better than issue 1. Issue 3 will be better, which is a good thing, but by leaps and bounds where I find myself trying not to rewrite things. I do think the story is solid, but just the comic book craft. Not so much the illustration, not so much the writing, which I've both hopefully improved on, but the putting together of the book and avoiding issues, not comic book issues, but problems. And again, it's a good thing to think ahead, but because I didn't think ahead when I wrote this story 2 years ago, I'm now questioning, can I fit this in 5 issues? And I don't want to make it bigger. Everything has gotten bigger since the beginning, and I'm so slow that if it became 6 issues, it's like, oh God, that's like adding another potentially year at how slow I'm going. So, but at the same time, I had a lot of fun putting in some of these action scenes, because I've been doing so much world building, so much dialogue, that just having some punch 'em ups was a lot of fun. And I'm trying to decide, am I just indulging myself and going, oh, I'm just gonna put some fun pages in that I don't have to worry about the writing too much, and it's just some cool characters? Or is it good storytelling, and am I giving my readers some action after they've watched so much talking and building? Here's a little bit of fun. I'm having a hard time deciding. So I'm going to continue going this way. I'm going to finish it as though this new stopping point will be the end. And then I'm going to look at all the thumbnails, maybe show it to a person or two and see what they think. Because I also feel now that the first half of the issue is top-loaded with action, and then the second half is a lot of dialogue. I would rather split it up, but the way it works, the dialogue has to come after some of the action, otherwise it doesn't make sense. So then I would need to put more action after the dialogue, which would then be a bloated book, which I don't want, or I'd cut out all that flashback stuff that I just did, which I can do because it's not integral to the story. It was just a fun thing to do. But I'm going to put the book together the way I'm planning it, look at it, and then decide if I need to reassess. Once I kind of decide, hey, this is working, I'm just going to go for it. Knowing that that stuff I cut out that now has to go in issue 4 could make issue 4 then go in issue 5, potentially creating an issue 6. Without really changing the story, but just because of the way I'm formatting things and moving things around. I don't want that to happen, but I'm not going to let that hold me back from making this issue the best it can be. I think there's a difference between allowing bloat to just happen because you're not cutting, you're not being a strong enough editor and you're not being honest with yourself, but I don't want to go the other direction and intentionally make this short and crowded and tight because I don't want it to get big, even though it would be better if I let it get big. So a lot of like, what is the better thing to do? Am I indulging myself or am I doing the right thing? Am I, being a bad editor, or am I doing the right thing storytelling? I'm going to follow my gut, like I said, and just sort of put it together the way I think it should be, reevaluate at that time, and not worry about future issues. Yeah, so that's it. So that's my day one. A lot of thinky stuff there going on. And the rest of my day will be putting together this video, doing some housework and other things. I don't know if I'll get back to art tonight or not, but it doesn't matter because I put in my 4 hours, 2 on a print, 2 on the horror. I've achieved my goal. Day one. Thank you.
I have something dramatic to tell you. No.